Super Rugby round 14 Saturday games. That was quite the day and night of rugby. Some interesting results. I guess we will start with the first one. Because the Blues, for the first time since 2011, have beaten the Chiefs. And it's a bonus point win. Definitely did not pick that. I went with a bit of kind of recent history. It's not even all that recent when you go back to 2011, but I picked the Chiefs to win because the Blues inevitably choke in these games. But apparently not in this one. Perhaps a wee bit of help from the ref, but I guess I'll get your guys' thoughts on that because I was at the game. I usually take a little radio so I can listen to the commentary and hear what's going on with those refs' conversations with the TMOs and all that stuff, but I forgot it for this game, so I have not seen the game on TV. So I'm not sure how some of those calls were. At least on the big screen and at the game, some of them seemed a little bit dodgy. But I'll get your guys to follow up on that because you guys will have seen the game on TV, some of you. Anyway, how did the game start? Blues turned down the easiest of 3 points early on, only for the Chiefs almost to hit back with a counter-attack and pretty much went 100 meters down the field. Eventually, they had a no try from a TMO. Not that long later, though. Karpik, 17 minutes, gets the opening try. Ta'avao somehow sets up a break for the Chiefs. Rico eventually covers from a little kick through, and as he's worried about kind of being, I guess, bundled into touch or forced over the dead ball line or, onto his own goal area, he kind of pops the ball out, but Karpik's the one who seizes it. It's kind of heart attack territory for Blues fans. It's 5-0 to the Chiefs, despite the fact that all the action's been down the other end with the Blues on attack. It's a wee bit reminiscent of that Hurricanes game last week. Chiefs go on a bit of a counter, but this time Clark gets a bit of a try-saving tackle, which was, again, blood pressure rising stuff from the Blues. But then the Blues get their first try. Plummer on 32 minutes down the left wing. It's 5 apiece because they missed the kick. Chiefs get a penalty, go back in front, make it 8 points to 5. But that's the last of the Chiefs scoring for the game. Nanai gets his try down the right wing just before half time. That's kind of in front of the area I was sitting at. I couldn't see if he grounded the ball from where I was or on the big screen. It looked initially to me like it was held up, but did he get it? Apparently TMO said it was all good. 10 points to 8. The conversion hit the post, so that's it at half time. Second half, Blues kick a penalty and make it 13-8 just before 50 minutes. Tuanga Fussy scores his try on the hour mark. I thought he kind of fumbled it in the lead up, but apparently not. So 18 points to 8 it was. And then Soakula gets his try. Chalked off from the TMO. I think it was about 10 minutes to go. I'm not sure what happened there because, again, I didn't know what was going on at the ground. They eventually went back for a Chiefs scrum, so I'm not sure what the deal was there. You guys will have to let me know. It did seem a bit dodgy, but again, don't know. A wee bit in the dark. Blues, for once, kind of didn't implode, and actually they pushed on and got a try from a line-out move to Kali Tuioti like a couple of minutes into extra time to secure the bonus point. 23 points to 8 win. It's a massive result for the Blues, just in terms of getting that monkey off the back, because 2011 is a long time. Some of these guys would have been kids, when they last beat the Chiefs. So, yeah, it's a big result for the Blues. Hopefully it gives them a bit of a confidence boost. That's 2 New Zealand teams they've beaten now. They're going to need it because they go away to Christchurch in the next game. So, any confidence they've got from a poor performing Chiefs team could be well shot in the next game. But hey, I guess we will see. The Chiefs, is that an all new low to lose to the Blues like that? There's a lot of attention being put on the coach, Colin Cooper, so we'll see what happens. I know they are injury riddled, but hey, it's still pretty disappointing. They have the Reds at home next week, so this would have been a good game to win because then If they could potentially get a win over the Reds, they'd be pushing themselves forwards for the playoffs, but this is just another step back. So, I mean, match stats: Blues run meters 435 to Chiefs 278. They had a fair bit of pressure on. Blues had 64% possession, 66% territory, so the Lions share there. Tackling percentages were both in the 80s. The Chiefs almost 90, so pretty even, but the Blues only made 67 to the Chiefs 109. Penalties conceded were 5 to the Blues, 9 to the Chiefs, so the Blues on the right side of the ref there. This put the Chiefs back down in 5th in the New Zealand Conference. The Blues are up 1 into 4th, but they're still 3 points behind the Highlanders. And there's a big gap off to the Hurricanes. So, we'll see how these two teams do next week. My dad called me after, it was after the Tuangawhati try. Called me at the game from home to say, from his house, to say, we're going to the playoffs, we're going to the playoffs, we're going to the playoffs. Not quite sure I'm that sold on that, but I guess we'll wait and see. The next one, I saw this one, Waratahs up in Brisbane to play the Reds. I saw this one when I got home, so I missed about the first 10 minutes on the road back from Eden Park. It was already 7-0 by the time I got the TV on, so it was 7-0 with a try to Foley. But this game was really just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, it's a high-scoring game. 70 points in the game, 72. So, yeah, very, very interesting watch. And it wasn't just one side in front of the other. It was just, you score a try, I'll score a try back. So, Foley got the first one, and then Blythe got the second one, followed by Campbell a few minutes later. So the Reds went in front. The Waratahs got a try on the 21st minute, with Wells. The TMO went with the on-field decision for that one, so it was 14 points to 10. And then Naivalu got a try. Beale couldn't handle a wee bit of a kick through. He kind of fumbled it, and the Reds ended up pouncing. So it was 15 points to 14. Just before halftime, Hooper put a big hit on Tate McDermott, which was a bit of fun for a Queensland-New South Wales rivalry match. So the Reds go into the break 1 point up at half-time, and then the second half starts. Hegarty gets a try, which has started from a Faiawai Sautia intercept, so it's 22 points to 14. Then Newsom gets a try from an inside ball from Phipps, makes it 22-21. This is what I'm talking about, back and forth. It's like the Newsom try was the 45th minute, the Hegarty try was the 41st minute, Hegarty's next try is the 49th minute. It's just really literally back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Interestingly, the tackling percentages, I thought they were going to be drastically low, but both in the 80s, which is actually pretty decent. So, Murphy got held up. We had a big break, almost went for the try line, didn't quite make it. Cam Clark, very good job to stop him from getting the ball down. Impressive for an outside back on a big front rower. But then Hegarty got his try from a scrum, some good steps a few minutes later. So 27 points to 21. But key point there is Phipps charged down the conversion right in front. Was right in front. It was a guaranteed 2 points. But Hegarty kicked the ball fairly flat, and Phipps, who's not all that big, came out and charged him down, which was a bit of commitment, because I think Phipps was slightly at fault for that try anyway. 54 minutes, Wells gets a try from a good build-up, runs a pretty decent angle for a guy his size, and that puts the Waratahs in front. They would have been behind if not for that conversion miss. But then Murphy, who missed out on a try earlier, takes a try. I think it was McGann who put in a little cross kick, and Murphy, who's out there on the wing, the hooker, he takes the high ball and puts in a little bit of a step, good angle, and scores. So it's 32-28 to the Reds. But then the Tars start the penalties. They go in front. They actually put on some big scrums to the Tars. Their pack often gets criticised for being kind of mobile, but not all that tough. But they showed up this one. Guys like Talakai, Kepu, Harry Johnson-Holmes, they all stepped up. Another penalty, the Tars from a scrum. Made it 37-32. Timu, I don't know, he banged his head on the ground at one point, got tackled, and his head kind of banged on the ground. That was pretty sickening in watching him walk off the field, Caleb Timu, because he was just groggy as you can get. He was just stumbling, could not walk, really jelly legs, so hopefully he's alright. That was pretty bad. And yeah, the Tars kicked another penalty right at the death to make it 40 points to 32. No bonus point for the Reds. Reds more tries, but that Waratahs boot really putting the boot into them. So yeah, it means the Waratahs overtake the Reds in the Australian Conference. They are 3 points behind the Brumbies, so not quite dead and buried. I feel like if the Waratahs had lost that one, that was pretty much it. Yeah, pretty disappointing for the Reds to lose that one at home. But real good game, like really entertaining watch. As I said, it was really back and forward. Some crazy skills, like a hook attacking a high ball or a cross kick. You don't see that every day. But yeah, run meters 546 to 528, pretty even. Possession slightly edged for the Waratahs, 54%. Territory again 60% for the Waratahs, so slightly edging it. Penalties conceded pretty low, which is probably why the game was allowed to flow so much. Only 10 in the game, 7 to the Reds, 3 to the Tars. So yeah, really good game. Lots of lead changes. I think I counted at least 7. There may have been more. I kind of probably stopped counting at some point, but yeah, entertaining one. And yeah, both sides still have something to play for, given that result. The next one, I didn't see this one. The Lions up against the Highlanders. I've just seen the highlights this morning. The Lions getting the result 38 points to 29. It's a pretty good win for them at home because, again, their season was kind of verging on being over if they didn't buck their ideas up, and a home win was what was needed, and they certainly got that to keep things alive. And I mean, this puts them up. I think they were last. Now they're third in the South African Conference. The Highlanders are kind of stuck there in the middle, but it's edging them now back towards the Blues and the Chiefs in New Zealand, whereas they probably had their sights set on getting up where the Hurricanes are at, but not to be, especially when the Hurricanes drop points, but not able to capitalise on that are the Highlanders. The Highlanders did start off scoring. Tompkinson got a try. Their quick tap and go. Penalty made it 5-0. But then Andreas Coetzee got a try. It was Yankees, a little step move, and then to Quokka Smith, and then to Andreas Coetzee, 7 points to 5, the conversion went in off the post. Franklin got a try on 34 minutes from a little Josh Ioane pop pass, so lead changed again. The lead changed, I think, to about 5 times in this game, so again, it had that entertainment factor. Quokka Smith got a try. This guy was in everything. Got a try after a deliberate knockdown from Franklin, but because the Lions went in and scored, Franklin didn't get punished with a yellow, which was probably pretty fortunate. 14 points to 12, Lions back in front, and then Quokka Smith again, second half, gets the next try from a quick tap, makes it 21-12. It looks at that point like the Highlanders are going to be out of it, but then Highland, who has a very appropriate name for the team he plays for, gets a try out wide, 21-17. Aaron Smith, who seemingly from the 10 minutes of the game I've seen, had a pretty good game. He nicks the ball from the back of a ruck. His little line break goes through to Faddis, and that puts them 22 points to 21 in front. So the Highlanders, from being behind, are now back in the lead. But then Lions kick a penalty. Reynolds gets a try after some good hands, 31-22. Ioane gets a try, put them back in touching distance, 29-31. But then Dianti to Skorsan, so winger to winger. Those guys have both got gas. Puts it to the final score of 38-29. No bonus point for the Highlanders, despite really being very good value in that game. I guess they will look back at the goal kicking. Lions, it was 100%, even if one of them went off the post. For the Highlanders, it was at 40%. So a fair few points left out there, and kind of costly they didn't get a bonus point in that one. The run meters were more to the Lions, 510 to 448. Possession, more to the Lions, 60-40. Same with territory. Tackling percentages, neither team was that hot. I guess that kind of, again, is a bit of indicative of the scoreline. 79% for the Lions, 74% for the Highlanders. The Highlanders, despite the fact that generally this season their possession numbers have gone up, but their tackling has gone down. So I guess that's just the way they're playing. 59 tackles made by the Lions, 103 by the Highlanders, so asked to do a lot more work. I know a few Highlanders fans will be pretty upset with the ref, because I mean the penalty count was 12-3 against the Highlanders, although Jaguares fans will be sitting there going, sometimes it kind of goes on the other foot, I suppose. It does go that way sometimes. Sometimes you get the ref calls. Like I think the Blues, from what I saw, were pretty lucky this week, but other weeks it goes against them. So, yeah. This was an interesting one because I think Stransky was calling the play-by-play, and he's usually like the specialist, like the guy who adds some comments rather than calling the play-by-play. I think the Americans would call it like the color commentator instead of the play-by-play, like the former player who just, interjects with some, I don't know, specialist advice or some, he's not the guy who just calls the game. But Stransky seemed to call the game, so I don't remember him doing that before. That was a bit different. But yeah, we'll see how these teams go going forward, because that's a bit of a blow for the Highlanders, but a good shot in the arm for the Lions, because they desperately needed that one. And good for the home fans to get something to cheer about. One more game. It was a bit of an interesting one. I didn't see this one either. Probably should go back and watch it because it's quite a result. Stormers and Crusaders draw. What is it with the Crusaders and getting draws? Off the back of a massive performance against the Bulls, they have drawn against the Stormers at Newlands. It was an interesting one. The Stormers got underway really with a pretty impressive try to Khaleesi. The guy must have run 25 meters, showed some real gas, ran a good angle. Made it 7-0, stunned the kicks a penalty, 10-0. Stormers looking pretty decent for their lead. But then the Crusaders come back, a big maul try for Todd. They missed the conversion, it's 10-5. Havili gets a try. They had advantage for that one. And Mo'unga seemed to kind of miskick it, but Havili still managed. There was like a little cross kick, but he was under a lot of pressure, Mo'unga. He didn't seem to get it that well, but they still made the most of it. Crusaders go in front, 10 points to 12, so 12-10. That's how it goes in at half-time. Eno gets one down the left wing, has some real gas, and it was Cody Taylor, who had the try assist. So 19 points to 10. It looks like it's going to be same old story, but that's the end of the scoring for the Crusaders. Stunder misses a penalty on 47, but then they kick one at 52, at 62, and then right towards full time to make it 19 apiece. Jean-Luc Dupria comes on, kicks a couple of those penalties. Jean-Luc Duplessis, not Dupria. The Crusaders did have a try TMO'd for a forward pass, which was pretty, touch and go. It wasn't a blatant forward one. The ball did move forward. I'm not sure if it was forward back out of the hands. The replay I saw only showed it once, so it was hard to say. But yeah, another draw for the Crusaders. That's 2 draws they've had, plus a cancelled game makes 3. The 1 loss, so it seems like on their day, teams can get the better of the Crusaders. The stats-wise, the Crusaders edged the run meters 339 to 290, but the Stormers edged the possession 53% and the territory 56%. I'm not quite sure. I might have to go back and watch this game in full, because the Stormers' tackling percent was only 68%, and they still managed to only concede 19 points. So I'm not sure how that works. They only had to make 59 tackles. 83% for the Crusaders, making 95 tackles. Crusaders conceded 5 more penalties, 13-8. But very impressive from the Stormers. Although despite that result, they are still dead last in the South African Conference, 3 points behind the Sharks, and the Sharks, who not that long ago were top. So that conference is still very tight. And despite the draw, the Crusaders are still 9 points ahead of the Hurricanes, so sitting pretty at the top of the log. It was a good crowd, seemingly, from what I saw. And Havili got really big tackled at one point. It seemed pretty impressive. The Stormers go to play the Highlanders. They stay at home in Newlands for the next game, so they'll be looking to build on what the Lions have just done. And the Crusaders go home to play the Blues. What happened last time the Crusaders got a draw? It was against the Sharks, and then they played the Bulls and gave them a hiding. So I'm not looking forward to the retribution that the Crusaders are going to place on the Blues after getting a disappointing draw for them. But hey, the Blues beat the Chiefs for the first time in a long time, so I definitely cannot complain. I guess we will see how things go in the coming games. I forgot to mention that the Lions are away to the Sharks. That's going to be an important game in the South African Conference, and the Stormers, again, as I just said, have the Highlanders coming to town. Well, the Highlanders are away to the Stormers. So, yeah, it should be an interesting week next week. I'm still trying to think which teams are gone. It's probably still only the Sunwolves at this point, given the results this week. But, yeah, we'll have to have a look at the maths and see just how close some of these teams are from not making it. You guys let me know your thoughts on the games. As I said, I didn't see all of these last two, so other moments that you guys can add some value on, please feel free to do so in the comments. And likewise, that Blues game, as I haven't seen it on TV, I missed some of the banter and chatter between the ref and the TMO because, yeah, I didn't see what was going on. The TMO was a really busy guy. So you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.